Hello everyone, and welcome to CYBERKINGPRODUCTIONS. Today I'm reviewing the Deadly Assassin set. It retails for $21.99 and is as usual exclusive to B&M. Starting off with the box, like all of the previous 2023 sets, it continues the same box style. This time though the colours are light blue, a different light blue to the new series Daleks. This light blue is character's colour for the 4th Doctor, so expect to see this light blue on 4th Doctor sets going forward. The front of the box features the Doctor Who logo in the top left corner. There are a couple of info diamonds that state that you get the 4th Doctor, Chancellor Goth and Lord Borusa, and that they're in the 5.5 inch scale. At the bottom is the 4th Doctor identification diamond, which is accompanied by the Deadly Assassin text, as well as the gold limited edition sticker. The right side of the box doesn't feature any new information, but the left side has an added 4th Doctor text at the bottom. The back of the box has some information about the Deadly Assassin story, as well as its synopsis. The top features the horizontal version of the Doctor Who logo, while the bottom just has lots of legal gobbledygook. Opening up the box shows off the Vortex-inspired backdrop. That is unfortunately destroyed when taking off the blister packaging. But that's enough about the box, let's take a look at the figures. So here is Lord Borusa, the 4th Doctor and Chancellor Goth, and they look beautiful. Now, they all do use the same body, that being the Series 4 Time Lord, but it works perfectly. This is another great example where reusing parts works incredibly well. So let's start with Lord Borusa. And oh my, I never thought character could be this lazy. So you know how I said that they all use the same body as the Series 4 Time Lord? Well, this figure uses the head as well. They literally took the pre-existing Time Lord figure, repainted it, and called it Borusa. In what universe does this look like Angus Mackay? I never thought in my wildest dreams that character would reuse an entire figure from head to toe and claim it's a different person. Enough ranting, let's take a closer look at the figure. His scarlet cap is sculpted well, with it being entirely smooth aside from the dark purple ridge design on the edge, down the centre and diagonally at the front. With this head being a reuse, the cap is inaccurate. The cap didn't have the centre and diagonal lines and had a pointier shape. Some of his grey hair can be seen at the side of his head, as well as underneath the cap at the back. It features some slight detail for strands of hair, but otherwise it's pretty bland. It's well hidden behind his head and collar anyway, so I'm surprised there's as much detail as there is. As we've discussed, this head isn't based on Angus Mackay, but that doesn't mean it's not a well sculpted head. This head is based off one of the Time Lords seen in The Sound of Drums. It features lots of detail for wrinkles and sagging skin around the face and neck. The sculpt is amazing and captures the actor incredibly well, but it's not Angus Mackay. Moving to his purple Time Lord collar, and it looks fantastic. It's made out of semi-transparent plastic, allowing you to see slightly through it. It's sculpted beautifully, with its large base that folds over the shoulders, the seal of Rassilon on the front, the various ridged lines, and of course the iconic semi-circle top. The seal of Rassilon features some brilliant paint apps and looks brilliant. The outer ridge line is painted scarlet, while the inner ridge lines are painted dark purple. The outer line is painted all the way around, but the inner lines are not. At least the colours kind of blend together, unlike the figures coming up. The maroon gown is beautifully done. It features gold lines across it, as well as a thick silver edge. It's sculpted brilliantly, with it featuring tons of detail for bunches, folds and creases, really giving the look of drooping, swaying fabric. It even bunches up at the bottom, which just looks great. The pieces behind the arms are great as well. They flow with the gown really well, further cementing the drooping fabric look. On the actual costume, the silver edge continues onto the bottom. It also has some kind of pattern to it, which is pretty difficult to make out. It's a little disappointing to see these details missed, especially the silver edge at the bottom. His scarlet robe looks brilliant as well, with a black arrow detail on his torso, as well as a black collar. It also features a lot of the same sculpted detail as the outer robe. His gown covers his arms, which feature the same sculpted and paint detail as the rest of the gown. His hands are sculpted nicely, with detail for his fingers and nails. One of them is in a grasping position, while the other is in an open position. They've painted on black gloves that feature the communication device on the back of his hands. Obviously, you shouldn't be able to see his nails, but that's due to the reuse of the Time Lord hand. It's an incredibly minor thing, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Finally are his brown shoes that feature detail for various folds, creases and stitching lines. Underneath his shoes is some legal gobbledygook. The overall figure is beautiful and is really stunning to look at, but the reuse of the Time Lord head ruins it. It's such a shame they didn't do a new head for Barusa, because I think this would have been one of the best figures from not just this year, but from B&M as a whole. Moving on to the 4th Doctor, and he looks pretty great. He features a newly sculpted head, which, unlike Barusa, has the accurate cap. The maroon cap is entirely smooth, aside from the dark purple ridged edge. His grey hair... Wait, grey? Tom Baker had brown hair. Come on, character, you can do better than this. His grey hair can be seen popping out from under the cap, which, in fairness, does look brilliant. It's sculpted really well, with lots of detail for his curls, but doesn't feature much in the way of paint apps, so it's pretty plain looking. Moving to his face, and it barely resembles Tom Baker at all. There is a little bit of him in there, but overall, it's really weak. His face is sculpted well and features a good amount of detail, but just doesn't look like Tom Baker. His collar is orange with a yellow ridged edge. The inner ridged lines are orange and, like Barusa, are not painted on the back. It's way more noticeable on here than it was on Barusa. It doesn't look good at all. Both his gown and robes are brown, but do feature a lighter brown wash. And lastly, his hands are skin coloured. The 4th Doctor is okay. The costume is great, but the head is disappointing. The 3rd and final figure is Chancellor Goth, and he looks fantastic. Like the Doctor, he also has a newly sculpted head. His grey hair can be seen at the edge of his cap, and it's sculpted rather well, for what you can see of it anyway. It also features some slight paint apps for added definition. His face is sculpted brilliantly and captures Bernard Horsfall pretty well, just maybe not around the eyes. It features a great amount of detail as well. Not sure if anyone else thinks this, but does his head look a little oversized? Let me know what you think in the comments. His collar is the same as the Doctor's, but with the ridge lines in red, with gold in between them. Annoyingly, like the other two figures, the backlines are not painted. It looks really bad. His gown is the same colour as the Doctor's, but features a silver and black diamond pattern on the edge. On Goth's actual costume, the patterned edge continues onto the bottom as well. It's disappointing to see this detail missed, especially on Goth because he was so close to being perfect. His robe's orange and has the same arrow design as Barusa on his torso, but in brown. It's difficult to see, but his robe does also have a brown collar. The only other difference is the hands, as they're wearing brown gloves that also feature the communication device on the back of his hands. Chancellor Goth is brilliant. The head sculpt is great and the costume is done really well. I don't like that they didn't paint the lines on the back of the collar. It looks worse on this figure because of the bright colours they've used. At least the other two sort of blend into the rest of the collar. I do think the head is slightly oversized, but it's still brilliant. Turning to articulation, all figures share the exact same articulation, which isn't a lot. The heads can slightly turn to the side, but this is heavily hindered by the collar. The arms can go up to about 45 degrees, but again this is hindered by the collar. There's a 360 degree twist on the upper arm, 90 degrees at the elbow, and a 360 degree twist on the wrist. Their waist can twist 360 degrees. Their legs do have some slight movement, but it's practically none. And finally is a 360 degree twist on the thigh. I just want to mention how terrible their upper arm pegs are. They are so incredibly loose and feel like they'll pop out without much force. It would have been nice if character fixed this issue before reusing the Time Lord mould. It just makes the figures feel a little cheap. When doing a size comparison, you can see all three of the characters fit in well with other figures and Time Lords from the 5-inch range. So overall, what do I think about the set? It's great, but that's mainly because of the colours. The gowns and collars are really stunning to look at, especially on Barusa. The reuse of the Time Lord body works exceptionally well, but not for the head. The reuse of the head for Barusa really lets the set down. It's so incredibly lazy. If they had said it was a random Time Lord, I could maybe accept it, but the fact that they're trying to tell you that this is Barusa, and not just any Barusa, but the youngest incarnation seen in the series, is just insane. And to be honest, quite frankly disrespectful to the late Angus Mackay and you as a consumer. The 4th Doctor head isn't great. It does have a hint of Tom in there, but not much. The missing lines are a bit annoying, especially on Chancellor Goth. It stands out like a sore thumb and doesn't look good in the slightest. I want to love this set, I really do. It's a fantastic concept and has some beautiful costumes, but the issues are just too big to ignore. I'm hoping the reuse of the head is a one-off, and not a sign of things to come. Who knows, eh? Who knows? So that concludes this review. If you liked it, please leave a like and tell me what you think in the comments below. If you enjoy Doctor Who content, then make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos including games reviews and much more. Thank you all so much for watching, and until we meet again, goodbye.